Hey guys, it's Wades. Welcome to NBA TopShot Hour. Tonight it is 11:44 p.m. on a Sunday, the 7th of March, 2021, and let's have a quick look at what the bitcoins and the cryptocurrencies are doing. So Bitcoin's at $50,714 per ounce, and Ethereum is at 1664. So yeah, it's doing okay. It's hanging around. On the NBA Top Shot side, in terms of trading, it looks like market hasn't been open for most of the day. I've been out for a fair bit today, family stuff, and probably still closed for a little while. I think it has something to do with all the packs dropping, and obviously the guys keep the market closed. Quite infuriating for me because I don't get a lot of time to spend on this sort of thing. So when I do, it's always closed. It's always down. It's just, yeah. Anyway. So 4 million traded over the last 24 hours. 7 days, 57 million. 30 days, 261 million. And since Crypto Slam has been keeping this data, $315 million, which is absolutely incredible. So back to the 24 hours. In terms of the top 15, 20 traded, or in this case, top 18 traded NFTs for the 24 hours, looks like mostly or all CryptoPunks, other than the one Soul Survivor, which ironically is Kyrie Irving with his tinfoil hat. Hollow Season 1, number 47 for 30k. Not bad. Okay. So, a fair few of you are probably new to the NBA Top Shot landscape. A few of you are new to me, to the channel. Last time I did this video, probably about a week or so ago, there was maybe 430 something of you. Now there's a little bit more. There's about 6 more. So it's important to go over some of these concepts again. And what I'm going to talk about, I'm going to try to play some videos. See if I can click at the same time and talk. Obviously I can't, I've stalled. So some of these concepts are important to understand, especially if there's a lot of young people in this game too, and given the amount of DMs and messages I get on a daily, especially these last days, yeah, more so days, I think it's important to talk about this. Some of this stuff does transcend to your daily life, so hopefully, some of you take notice. So for you guys that don't know who I am, I work with Dapper team on the moderation side of the Discord and so forth. So we call it the leadership team on the community side. So I've been around on that team since the beginning of this time of the game, basically. Joined in June officially in a small group, and then about a month later they asked me to moderate the Discord. Back then it was quite small. Now we've got a massive team. Obviously there's some 200,000 supposedly. I've got numbers there, but last time I checked it was 192,000. So I'd say it's well over 200 now of Discord users on NBA Top Shot. So we've got a massive team to look after that. But that's my background in respect to this game. So I do work with the guys, as close as I want to work. I'm not an employee of Dapper Labs or anything like that. So anything I say, show, can't be used against me in the court of law. So don't sue me. But on my real life side, let's watch something else other than the same play. On the real life side, I'm a professional financial advisor. I've been accredited for a long time. I've been in the financial planning industry for 20 years, and part of that is also the education, degree qualified. So for that reason, I think I have a little bit of experience to talk about what I want to talk about next, and that is really the risk side of this marketplace, this game we play. Because at the end of the day, we are dealing with some serious money. Because you look at that, on a closed down day, we're talking about $4 million in trade. The last 7 days, $60 million. So real money's being put into this game. Excuse me. So therefore, these are real feelings. And I've touched on this before in another video of mine. Not to any great extent, but it's really comes down to it really is managing the emotions which which control a lot of our buying habits, which is fear and greed. So try to be aware of these emotions, because the market, this isn't not a perfect market by any means. I've said this time and time again. There is no bid and offer system, which means basically, like, if I want to buy this Clint Capella moment, my friend Clint Capella, I've actually messaged him back and forth, so he's a pretty cool guy. If I want to buy this moment for $9, I can't, because the floor now is 11. So if I want to get it for 9, I have to wait, right? So in the real world, it doesn't work that way. In the real world, there's the offer side, which means basically I, as the person that wants to offer the deal, I'll offer $9 to the marketplace. So that'll sit on one side, and then the bids and offers will sit on the opposite sides of each other. So until those two meet, there isn't a trade. Now it's just basically just going and buy. So the only way it could go up the only way it can go is up or down, which obviously any market does that. Just in this case, there isn't that sort of, the equal other side, just that keeps the market a little bit more honest. So I'd love that bid offer side, just to keep the market a little bit more efficient, I like to put it. But until like that gets there, we will see this extreme volatility up and down, and that adds to it. That, in my opinion, that definitely adds to some of these price appreciation, depreciation that I'll actually show you very shortly. So back to the emotion I mentioned before, fear and greed. So the more you can be aware of that, the more you can not be controlled by that, the better trader or investor you'll become. How do you actually do that? Well, there's a lot of little things you can control, which I think, as a combination of all those factors, you will control those two emotions, the fear and greed. So we'll talk about some of those, but before we get on to some of those tips and tricks, things to be aware of, I just want to show you what I'm talking about in real life. So I'm going to leave LeBron. I was just looking at this before we started the video. So I'll do one of my favorite moments in season 2, which is John Wall. The reason I like him, it's no secret, I hold probably one of the most in the entire game, or second most. I'm pretty sure it's second most. Because it's his rookie card. It's his first play. That's pretty much it. So I am pretty big on the first plays and stuff like that. So before we do that, this platform I'm using, I've just been introduced to this through Plungefather's videos. So as soon as I saw it, I go, wow, that looks fucking pretty good. Because I am a finance guy, mentioned before. I've been trading shares, stocks, and some of the most extreme volatility type stuff you can imagine. So I do. When I say this, I do truly understand volatility, because it's basically like betting on a horse, a bunch of cockroaches, and that's the sort of volatility we're talking about. Companies in Australia that trade that have a market cap of $2.5 million, and you'd put a $100,000 position on there. So extreme volatility. So with respect to this platform, it's pretty good. I've only literally just used it a couple of times, and I promised the guys from admiralfunds.com that I will go through and give a proper review on video. So I don't hold anything back. I don't get paid by them. Well, technically I don't. I purchased the full subscription, which cost me $99, and everyone gets a $5 discount if you buy the annual. So I think that's the annual that gives me all the options for the NBA TopShot side. They do other stuff as well, but I'm not familiar with any of that. The sports side, that all aside, it doesn't really matter. I think this is more of a DFS type of thing, but they've obviously saw an opportunity with TopShot and jumped on it, which is, credit to them. Now, there is an affiliate link that they've provided me with after I mentioned that I sort of started playing around with this platform. I don't even know what they pay, how it all works. I will drop the affiliate link. So if you guys, and I'll share you the data. There is a back end to some of this that shows how many have converted. So with all the sales that we get out of this, I'll just put it back into the community. I'll just give away the equivalent in moments, and obviously I give away quite a lot now. So I'll just add to that. So I'll show you guys what it actually makes, so that there is no secret. I mean, I don't need the money, so, and the more we can build up the community, the better. Anyway, I'll stop fucking talking shit. So let's have a look at John Wall. So this little thing gives us the price chart. So one thing, there is an old saying: the more you learn, the more you earn. So in this, the more you earn, the more you learn. The more you learn, the more you earn. In this instance means, learn everything you can about the game. Learn everything you can about how markets trade. Because while it's not an efficient market right now, because it doesn't have some of those, much needed features, it will become that. And you can already see that is, it's how it works, because a market is a buyer and a seller agreeing on a price, basically. So have a look at this. So this is John Wall. His rookie moment, his only moment, base moment in season 2. So look at this. When it started out, it's like, bam, just took off from like $18 one day, February 19th, to 3 or 4 days later, 100. So that 10x in 3 or 4 days. Guys, for you guys who don't know anything about financial markets, this is not normal. So prices just don't go straight up, because when they do, they come straight down. Usually, not always. Usually, it's followed by a correction, which is what we're going through right now. So look, not saying go out and buy this platform, subscribe to it. There's plenty of other stuff that's maybe even better than this. For me, I like this. I use evaluate.market, intangible.market, moment, something or other. There's like 4 or 5 that I use, but for this one, it's got other features like price alerts, which I've set a couple for him as well, which work pretty neat. What this is missing for those guys that know a little bit about trading is down here. I'd like to see the volume. So the reason you want to see the volume is you want to see how much of an agreement on a particular price these buyers and sellers are, exhibiting. So what that means in plain English is marketplaces. Just think of literally a marketplace like buying apples and stuff like that. So you've got 2 parties. You've got a buyer and a seller, and you've got this massive marketplace, and they're going, I'll sell you the apple for $18, and they're going, oh, fuck you, I want to pay $17 for it. So until there's a meeting of those two, there won't be a trade. Okay, so when that trade happens, there's a little tick in the order book that says, okay, there's one trade that happened that day. Okay, that marketplace might trade 1,000 a day, so that one trade means nothing. Don't read too much into it. If it happens at $180, probably someone selling CryptoPunk. We need much more. But that's why we need to see the volume. So we need to see the more people agree on that price point, the more relevant it becomes. So without seeing the volume on this bad boy, this parabolic trade up may only, there might only be a couple of trades here, which means it's just a couple of guys that don't know what they're doing, agreeing, disagreeing, whatever. But and I bet that it's the other way around. I bet there's a lot of volume here, which means this price is just irrational exuberance. So that's what happens. Fear and greed. Fear of missing out. Greed of wanting more. I want more. I want shit. Greed. Fear. Oh fuck. Let's go. So yeah, for you guys that are on podcast, which hasn't made it to the podcast yet, I'm just rambling about and pointing to a chart going up and down. I don't know if you guys can see the cursor either, which probably won't help on the video side either. But look, all jokes aside, learn how to read some of this, like the most basic level. Learn how to read some of the charts, like what support levels mean. Where I won't go into that now. Maybe we'll talk about it some other time. How to read technical analysis. And there's a lot of people out there that go, oh, technical analysis, like, you're reading tea leaves. It's not. It's at the most basic level. What it is just, I mentioned before, it's a graphical representation of what the buyer and seller agrees on a price. Okay, the more data you have, the more volume you have, the more relevant it is. That's all it is. It's just a picture of all the different trades that happen for that period of time. Very simple stuff. Don't make it anything else. Like, you can use all the indicators and all sort of stuff, but just learn how to read. So for me, looking at this sort of stuff, like going, are you kidding me? So for me, I'm buying up to a certain point for these moments, and then I guarantee you, if I go through my history, I've stopped. I have not been buying at these heady, dizzying heights. And the same way down, I've been buying the way down. So we'll talk about what that actually means, what it's called. It's called dollar cost averaging. But coming back to this, look at the charts, look at the history, because let's have a look at some other moments. Let's look at the LeBron. So, and that's something else. The feedback I want to give to the creators of this software. So look at season 2, because there's most liquidity in season 2. So when we look at his $1,000 moment, because the cheaper one should technically have more volume because it's more affordable by everyone. Actually, to the right hand side, there's a sold number. So that one has sold the most. It's sold 11,000 moments. So let's have a look, which is quite impressive. At that clip, that's quite a lot of money, or around those numbers. It's not all a $1,000 trade. So I love this, thing where it just draws you the history. Look, that is identical to the John Wall moment, just different price ranges. So, if you're buying up here, I mean, again, we talk about this, like when Josh Hart came on, people buying his moments at $1,000, his EAs at $1,000. Like, I was selling that at $1,000. What's the expectation here when this thing goes up? Like, it does this and it just goes literally straight up. There's no resting. It just goes straight up. That thing has to come down. Theoretically, it has to come down. It might keep going another day or two up. So who cares? If you're in this market, most of you guys are in, for the short-term gains, and you've got strategies which we'll talk about very soon. But if you're not taking some profits, protecting yourself, don't be buying at some of these sort of parabolic levels. The reason why it has to come down is quite simple. There's guys out there that are very, very happy to take 300% profit. I'm one of those. I was selling this one. What is it, 1,000? Probably anywhere from 900 to 1,500. I don't think I'll probably have some left. It might be like special mints that just aren't being sold at these levels. That are probably 3-4 times the level I've listed them at these prices. But like I'm going, fuck, even if I'm wrong, which I hope I am, we talk about this, having no regrets. I truly believe that. Like, you cannot have regrets, because it means the game's not moving forward. Have regrets, because all the other stuff that you hold from season 1 will keep going up. So the more regrets I have, the better my bank balance looks like. So what that means in this sort of situation is leave some for the next guy. Don't be greedy and just try and time the top and hold for dear life, and because these things, they're going from $400, $100, $300, $400, $700 to a top of $2,500. Be a little bit sensible. Take some money off the table. Just put it in dapper, hold it, put it back in season 1. So season 2 is a really good graphical representation of where the market's moving. You look at that, up and down, up and down. So you look at these sort of charts. Next sort of support levels should be somewhere around here, really. So we're looking at $900 in this bad boy, 800, roughly around there. So let's see what happens there. Otherwise, if we and this is not a perfect market, so that it's absolutely meaningless to look at these charts at this point in time, in my opinion. I can't see the volume. We've got more players coming in daily. Markets shut down, so it's literally just a guess. But in the absence of whatever this thing is, a guess is just as good as any of them. So an educated guess in this instance. I'm just using my experience from other markets, just to draw some conclusions. So I'm just curious to see how his moments have performed in season 1, where it's probably not as liquid, and talk about some stupid numbers in terms of prices. So what's this one? Okay, base moment. I'm just trying to pick the one that's traded the most. So LeBron, base moment dunk. There's a lot of dunks, so you can't tell which one it is, but it's traded 502 times. It's now trading at $32,000. So, here we go. So even on a really expensive moment, you could see, you can draw some conclusions already. And we know this. Some of the guys that have been around for a while already know that season 1 is a little more stable. It's more stable for a number of reasons. Number one being there's a lot of early adopters that hold a lot of this sort of stuff. This moment is printed to 1,000. I hold 2 or 3 of these. I think I hold 2. And they're both quite good mints. So for me to sell them now, they're part of a set, so I can't really sell them anyway. Even if I wanted to, I really can't sell them because they're part of a set. So like you break up 1 or 2 out of these, and you're going to buy them back at some point in time again. So there's a lot of early people that hold this that don't really need to sell this sort of stuff. They can sell other season 1 stuff that's not as liquid to free up dapper credits and stuff like that. So that's probably the biggest one. You've got a lot of strong hands that are holding these sort of moments, which means what I'm trying to get back to you guys is, and this is my strategy, and you need a strategy. You need some sort of a plan. Otherwise, you become like the Milwaukee Bucks when they play the Miami Heat. Deer in the headlights. You look at the market and you go, how many times have you guys sat there and going, click, 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 click. You go and you spend an hour or two going, what have I done? Like I've been clicking around randomly, looking at moments, and because you get lost in this sea of stuff. So you need to have a trading plan or some sort of a plan. For me, it's very basic. I just trade season 2 and buy up stuff as much as I can on the way up, sell it on the way up, sell it on the way down, move some of that money back into season 1 and just park it there. Really simple stuff. It doesn't need to get harder than that. Within that, obviously, you've got to look at some moments, and I try to stay as liquid as possible with just like LeBron, Curry, Zion, all those sort of things. So you could see already. So let's have maybe... That's noisy. Let's have a look at... We've got Jaylen Brown here already open, so let's have a look at some of his traded base moments. So we've got let's look at Jalen Brunson even. See what... that might not be a good one because... He's come into the game recently. So that's his 3-pointer base. Oh, that's a sold. No, we want to look at the price. He's come into the game recently, so that might have fudged the numbers a little bit because as soon as a player comes into the TopShot universe, his moment just goes through the roof. Yeah. Again, so that hasn't happened, which is good. You can see, guys, what's happened. I mean, look, this parabolic rise is no different to all the other ones, but season 1 it's just held its ground more. So again, do this research yourself, because like I said before, the more you learn, the more you earn, which means just be comfortable with what you're working with. Learn some of these concepts, learn why this price stuff matters, why volume matters, because it all forms part of your toolkit, which means you become more comfortable. And you become more comfortable. This one's come down a little bit more. That's Jaylen Brown from 900 to halfway down. You become more comfortable, which means you become more comfortable with managing that fear and greed. So that's all. That's what it comes down to, basically. So yeah, a couple other things that I want to talk about in terms of this, how to manage some of these points that I've basically learned over 20 years. One big one is in this space as well, not a big one, but a reasonable one. Stop keeping up with the Joneses. Stop looking at your fucking rank, because that shit doesn't matter. Like, seriously, everyone's talking about, I'm in the top 10%, I'm in the top 0.1%. Who cares? Because you're going to keep looking at that and you're going to go, oh, I'm worth 200,000 now. If I can just be worth 300, I can get that leopard skin suit that I've always wanted. Who gives a fuck? Just forget the rank, forget trying to keep up with your friends or the next guy, try to get to the top 50 or the top 30 or the top 10. It doesn't matter. Have a plan in place, whatever that looks like. We can talk about that next time. Try to keep it relatively short this time around. But stop keeping up with your friends. Have a goal in place where you want to get to, and take some money off the table as you go along. Because most of you guys that have come in, even in recent weeks, probably not recent weeks, actually it's come down a bit. Before that, you've made a lot of money out of this. So don't be stupid and keep trying to keep up with your friends and the guy that has more money than you, that came in June, that put in $2,500, and for him this risk reward ratio is completely off the charts. So if it goes from in my case, whatever it is, to half of that, it's still worth a crap load of money. So stop keeping up with other people, because you don't know their story. For them, the $300,000 that you're targeting just to be in the top 100, whatever it is, it literally might be chicken feed for them. For you, it might be life changing. For a lot of you guys, it's life changing. So take some money off the table, because that will help you trade better. Take the capital, take the initial capital you've got in there. That will help you manage your fear and greed better, more easily. Because once you trade, once you call what's called free carry in this game, it's a different concept altogether. In my opinion, it's a different feeling. Like you feel a bit more relaxed. For me, that happened literally like in week 1 or 2 of beta, because I hit a massive moment, and I sold it straight away. I sold it for different reasons. I didn't want a free carry from there, but I sold it just to have more money so I can buy more packs, and I've talked about it before. So get your initial capital out if you can. Have a plan to cash out over time, because the thing at the end of the day is keeping up with the Joneses just does not work. Forget the rankings. They're the most stupidest thing ever in this fucking game. I hate it. I absolutely hate it, because people look at your ranking and go, oh, you're worth so much and all sort of stuff. Who cares? Just forget about it. Free carry, take some money off the table. Stop keeping up with the Joneses. Within all of that, cashing out and taking money off the table, it helps with this next point, which is have dapper balance available all the time. Because if you do, and this is by far and away the hardest thing to do in the game, keep dapper balance available. Because right now, cashing out is not really an option for most of us. You submit a cash out request, and it's like fucking 3 weeks till it gets there, and then some guy's got to go to Himalayas to post a check, and then the other guy's got to fucking take it to the Bahamas to cash it in, and then eventually comes back to you 6 months later for $1,000. So it's hard. It's very hard. Trust me, I know. If anyone knows, it's me, because I do have a large portfolio, and at a click of a button, I can just smash a price down to 50% of it, and I can have dapper in there, which I've done at times. And it's hard. It's hard to keep there, because you just see all these opportunities, and you go, oh, if I can just get that LeBron. But that is part of managing that fear and greed, because when you have some balance in there, and you've got the what's the word? I'm looking for the word there. I can't think of it right now. just the resilience to hold that money there to any extent does help out, because you could see why do you want to hold that money for these reasons. Look at what the market does. For those phantom podcast guys, I'm just going through chart now. So it goes up, and if you hold some cash sitting around, if you free carried and you've got your money out, you're feeling pretty comfortable, feeling pretty relaxed. If the shit happens, shit hits the wall, you've still cashed out. You've had a meaningful win. That's fine. If you better yet, if you hold some dapper credits for those nasty days where the market's absolutely shit itself, even better. So that's why you want to have some dapper credit to help you manage that fear and greed emotion. The other one, diversify across seasons, bases, players. Try to stick to liquid players if you can. There's plenty of liquid players in both seasons. Obviously, season 1 I mentioned before, that's more your park it, stick it away for a rainy day type of attitude. The museum pieces, as I call them. So Julius Randle, that's a nice little spin move. So what are some of the other ones? I mentioned dollar cost averaging. So what that means, let's look at this chart again. Or any of these. That's not that one. So what dollar cost averaging is, so it's DCA is the acronym you might hear. It's a terrible chart. Not enough volume in that one. Let's go to season 2, because season 1 is just not as liquid as we all know by now. Season 2. Okay, let's look at Jaylen Brown. And let's look at something else. That's just come out by the looks of it. So let's look at LeBronski. Where is that one right there? 11,000 trades. That's pretty impressive. Okay, so what dollar cost averaging is? Say you've got $1,000 to invest in this moment, which back here, and say you had the opportunity to invest down here. So instead of just going all in and buying it all $100, which would have been great, you take the more cautious approach and you invest, say, $100 a day or whatever you need to buy one of these a day. So you buy one, say, up here, you buy one up here, you buy one up here, there. So basically what you're doing is you're averaging your cost out over a number of periods of time. So in this case, if you take all these 10 days, you divide that by 10 the price, you might have got it, let's say, on average at like $300. You could have been really smart and bought them down here, but you don't know. You don't know where it's going to go. It could have gone from $140 down to $60. So if it went down to $60, you would have had 140, 130, 120, 100. So you would have averaged down to like a $90. So it's really just a way of managing risk. So that's something, you guys, and I do this like with my John Walls and stuff like that. I just buy every day. I might buy like 3 or 4, whatever it is, whatever I've got sitting around. Some days I buy more than others, but generally, like, I'm not in a hurry. So these things go up and down. Just think basically long term. By now, if you're in this, my thought process. And for those of you that don't know, I'm very high in this game. I've been high from the beginning. It's on record. Tweets from like 8 months ago saying this thing's going to change the world. That's just how I felt about it from the beginning. Still feel the same way about it now. Just now there's more volatility because there's more players and just everything's sort of being figured out on the fly. It's more opportunity than anything else, really. So it comes back down to just managing this fear and greed as much as you can. And there's some of these points that I use personally. And for some of these, it's not even like, it's subconscious almost. I just, like I said, John Wall, I'll just buy a couple here and there and then move on to the next guy. Diversify into someone else. What else do we have here? So I talked about dollar cost averaging and how that sort of helps you shape that, essentially that price chart, because you're buying on the way up and on the way down. And over time, if you plan to hold that, which, before I probably didn't touch on it, my thought process is, well, it's gonna be here for a little while, this game. So you're gonna have plenty of opportunities. So don't whale into just that one moment because you think it's gonna go sky high. Choose a couple, do it over a period of time, and you'll come out the other end a little bit safer, in my opinion. So we talked about reading the charts. So I think we're probably down to the end of this ramble. So look, in summary, really what I wanted to touch on, it comes from 20 years of experience in the financial markets, which do translate, in my opinion, to an extent to the TopShot marketplace. And it really is that managing your fear and greed. And how do we try and do that? Mention a couple of points that I use. Take some value out of that if you choose to. If you don't, so be it. But some of those things are, stop keeping up with the Joneses. Don't look at your rankings and talk about top 2%, whatever it is. Doesn't matter. Have your plan in place. Set out some goals where you want to be, and the top of that goal list should be to cash some money out. Ideally, what you put in there, you guys have done quite well. Take some money out, enjoy yourself, spend it on your family, whatever it is, and then just by that little action, you'll be a better investor. But you'll come from a place of a little bit more level-headed thinking. So forget about what your friends are doing. Do your own research. Have some confidence in what you're doing. The more you learn, the more you earn. Have a strategy in place. If you guys want to talk about strategy and all sort of stuff in place, feel free to DM me. I'm always happy to help out, talk shit to people. The other part of that is have some dapper available at all times, because there's always bargains out there. And when it comes back to managing this fear and greed, like if you have no money sitting and the market absolutely shits itself, you feel pretty awful, because you've just seen your portfolio go up to a dizzying height valuation and then all the way back down. There's nothing worse, because you've got no money to make use of that price action. So as hard as it is, and it's the hardest thing in the game to keep money ready available, try it. Just sell enough stuff, and sell the stuff as the market is going hypey. When everyone's on Twitter spruiking TopShot and all that sort of stuff, idiots like me, I don't do it on purpose. I genuinely enjoy spruiking. Talk about TopShot and just putting out some content that just gives some insight into where we've been and all that sort of stuff. So, but I mean, you can sort of almost feel it when everyone's sort of going out there and just everyone's on this massive high. All the news outlets are carrying it. It's time to start peeling off some of that orange. Start selling some of that stuff. Put the money in dapper, because it's going to come down. It always does. It's just, that's how markets work. People start taking profits. Diversify as much as you can. Don't over diversify. I mean, people like having sets and all that sort of thing. That's great. Most of you can't afford season 1 set. So just pick your players. Even some entry level guys, they do come up and down in price. But you saw, some of the ones I showed you. Try and stay liquid, because there's nothing worse than putting money into season 1 and choosing some of the really illiquid players. Because even when it goes up, people aren't going to want him. Some of the bottom of the barrel guys. So try to afford some of the better players if you can. If you can't, if you've got to trade in season 2, try to stick with liquidity. And when it does sort of this parabolic type of stuff, just if you can't afford season 1, just stick it in dapper credits. Hedge your bets. Talk about cashing out. Dollar cost average. You heard what that means. Buy a little bit at a time on the way up and down. And that'll smooth out that risk curve. And learn how to read some of these charts, at least to a basic level. If you guys want to know anything about or any of this sort of stuff I've talked about, I realize it's a lot of stuff packed into the one, but really it's all these little tips and tricks and just how to manage your emotions around buying. Fear and greed. That's it. Learn how to manage that. Ask around. There's a lot of good people around that will be more than happy to help you. Until the next one, hope you guys have enjoyed this, taken something out of it to help you, in your day-to-day investing, trading, whichever one it is, it'll help out at either one of those. So until next time, Wade's out.